Alright, I'm going to talk through this video. I doubt I'll actually post it, but I'll talk just in case. So this is the blank page. I'm about to start. And the first thing I like to do is just do a quick scribble of where the actual figure is going to go. So I'm using the symmetry tool. Not a tool that I actually use too much for normal art, but I like to use it for these videos because it seems to get more views, and I think people just get a kick out of the feature itself, so why not? Sometimes it actually makes the drawing harder because people's faces aren't really naturally symmetrical, and sometimes end up with this weird width and whatnot because it's a little bit hard to gauge how wide to draw things. But it does make it faster, and it does look cool, so I'll keep doing it as long as you guys keep liking them. Alright, so I'm just going to try to figure out where the basic parts of the face go. So, I want to get the overall structure, the eyes, the nose. I think the eyes will go here. This is going to be on a layer that I'm actually going to eventually remove, but I'll just keep it here for now. I'm trying to figure out where everything goes. And so it's going to go like so. Get his ears in there. Right away I can notice, this guy's face is a little wider than I want, but that's okay. I'll try to adjust it with the hair. This character does have a wide face, so it might not be so bad. Okay. I'm going to have his head bent forward a bit so his traps are out. He's going to be wearing a jacket. Another thing I do sometimes, depending on what I'm drawing, is I'll use separate layers for different body parts, and that way if I screw something up, I can just erase it and not wreck what's underneath. So in this case here, I'm going to do everything on this layer because it's just the rough. Just going to have, actually no, I'm not going to do that. Change that. Just undo my last, you know what, I don't even care, I'm just going to leave that line there. But I'm going to see here, I'm going to do the roughs all on one layer, but the actual final image will be probably on 2 layers. Probably a separate layer just for the hands and the claws, which not gonna be so perfect with these because it's just a rough. All right, so let's see, get the brow down. All right, looking. I wanted his head to look like he was looking down a bit more. Let's see, I think I can achieve that. Build up the top of his head a bit. But shadows here. Alright, I think that'll do. Okay, so that's my bottom layer. So I'm going to just create a new layer now. Go back down to the bottom here, and I'm going to actually turn the transparency, the opacity down, so it doesn't show too much. So I can still see it, but I don't want it to get confused with the lines on top. Alright, so here goes nothing. Let's start on this guy. So this is just, once again, this is just a really quick scribble drawing. Not, if this was an actual piece of art that I intended to do something with, or, wanted to take to the next level, I would not do it this way. I would spend a lot more time setting it up and probably be a lot more meticulous in drawing the details. But this is just for fun. So I'm hoping this will take about 15-20 minutes. I don't want to spend much longer than that. Alright, so I like to get the eyes early, just because if the eyes don't look good, then the rest won't look good either. Now, you probably can tell already, because I don't know what I'm going to use for the thumbnail for this video if I do include it, but it's not going to be a secret. This is Old Man Logan. Now, I haven't read this comic. I'm familiar with the story just because I've heard of it. I know it's, I'm not sure if it's like an Elseworld tale or something that takes place in the future, or what it is, but I know that it involves old Wolverine, all gray and aged, white hair. Yeah, old Hulk. A lot of the other characters are dead or whatnot. Anyways, I got a lot of requests for him, and he has one of the things that I really like, which is lots of lines. I like it when they're all wrinkly, angry, and a lot of frown lines and eye lines, because I can have a lot of fun with that stuff. So just put stuff around his eyes here. great things. That's one of the reasons I like Batman so much, is because I can put as many lines as I want on it. And the more lines I put, the better he seems to look. So let's see what we can do here with this guy's face. I'm gonna just try not to go too crazy, but again, maybe I will go crazy. Alright. So it's Old Man Logan, so I'm gonna try to make him look older than I normally make Wolverine look. And I already do Wolverine with a lot of lines on his face. He's a very angry guy. So this time I've got lines, but they're not just anger lines, they're actually gonna be wrinkles and age marks. Alright, let's go here. Let's do some cross hatching. Now, by the way, I'm using a Wacom Cintiq right now. It's a 21 UX. It's actually an older Cintiq. I get asked so many times, it's crazy. I've been literally asked probably 5,000 times, 10,000 times. I can't even really begin to count. My DM box is full of people asking me, what tools are you using? What's the software? And I include it in the description, and I try to say, and then I kind of actually stopped including it in the description because it just kind of seemed like nobody really reads that stuff anyways, or very few people do. So sometimes I include it, sometimes I don't. It's always in the hashtags, so if you're ever not sure, you just look at the hashtags. But yeah, I get asked all the time, nonstop. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I wish people would read the hashtags, or not the hashtags, would read the actual captions, but that's okay. I don't mind too much. Yeah, I'm happy to try to share that information with people. And of course, I'm not going to complain when I get comments on my Instagram. It's always a good thing. So anybody knows who has an Instagram account, comments are actually helpful. They actually help you show up in more pages and get into the top charts more quickly. So feel free to ask. I don't mind. But yeah, for the most part, I use SketchBook Pro or MANGA Studio, depending on the piece. Now, for the speed sketches, I probably use SketchBook Pro mostly just because I think it's a little bit faster with it. And it does a slightly better job of feeling like pencil. If I'm going to work on something that's, maybe a bit more important for me, I'll use... By the way, I'm drawing much slower now than I normally do just because I'm talking. So this might take longer than I wanted. But yeah, so I was saying, if it's a piece that, I think I'm going to actually try to turn into a print or do something important with, then I'll use MANGA Studio just because it's much more powerful. At least for me, it's much more powerful. I guess you might be able to do the same things in Sketchbook, but I just don't know how. But MANGA Studio does a fantastic job of replicating the feeling of paint. That's MANGA Studio 5. Yeah, so when I do my painting images, when I like to paint them, I get really nice brush strokes and blending and stuff using MANGA Studio, and I can't get that stuff with any other software. So that's one of the reasons I keep using it. I used to do Photoshop originally, but yeah, Photoshop is actually great for editing photos, but when you try to paint with it and stuff, it's got a lot of, I guess, functions and features, but they tend to weigh it down, so it's not very performant. So unless you got a really high-end machine, it's really hard to use. And then it doesn't even have a lot of the really cool features that MANGA Studio has, even though MANGA Studio cost, I think, 1/10 as much. So I do have a Creative Cloud account, so I'm able to basically try out all of Adobe's stuff. And I still use it every now and then in my art, just to tune the colors and whatnot, and maybe do a bit of tweaks at the end. But yeah, for drawing, I don't use it anymore, and then also for even for painting, MANGA Studio is the thing that I use. All right, so let me see here. So I'm gonna take a look here. A bit too clean looking. He's gonna need a lot more wrinkles. I'll keep doing more. Trying to figure out if I should give him a full beard or not. I'm looking at some reference photos on my other screen here to try to see what he looks like. I know sometimes they draw him with a full beard and sometimes without. So I'm gonna actually kind of go in the middle. I'm gonna let his sideburns almost meet, and then I'll stop right there. And I don't know if this is the right way or the wrong way, but I like my Wolverine to still have those sideburns. If I go full beard, I think I might lose that. Alright, let's just give him some more line work down here on his face. I think I'll double up this stuff here. Yeah, there we go. Let's give him a cleft chin, because why not? Yeah, let's give him some more stubbly. Alright. Okay, I can go some. I want him to look angry. He's Wolverine after all. So what I do for that is I go really dark, usually around the eyes. You want those eyes to look really sunken. Go deep. Okay, and let's put some shadowing under his nose here. Gotta be careful sometimes with these shadows. If I don't do them right, they end up looking like a Hitler stash, which is definitely not cool. Don't want that. All right, give him some more lines around his mouth. All right. Now you'll notice I got these two big round lights on the thing here. I've got a really funky setup for my recording here. It's actually pretty primitive. I've got a shelf above me. I've got my Cintiq lying down flat, which is really awkward to draw on, but it's the only way I can get the camera directly above it. And the camera's just kind of sitting off the edge of a shelf. And I might show that at the end of the video, or I might not, because I'll probably forget. But yeah, so unfortunately, I end up with these lights that are from the pot lights that I have above me. And the only way I can get rid of them is to turn all the lights off and draw in the dark, which I'm not going to do right now because it's creepy. All right, so let me go back. Okay, so I'm going to put some more darker lines around his face here. Yeah, he's still not ugly enough. I got to get him uglier. All right, so let's go. Let's thicken up some of these lines around his face. I'm going to do some more cross-hatching here. Let's do a bit more that way. All right. And let's just go crazy. I'm going to just do stuff all over his forehead. He's got a creasy, ugly forehead. All right. And more on his nose. So let's do the first set of crosshatches and kind of go against the angle here to make it look like it's deeper lines. There we go. I think we're getting a bit closer now. Let's give him some more lines here coming off. Some crow lines here at the end of his face. Right, let's give him some more lines up this way. All right. And let's just darken everything around his eyes here. All right. Okay, I think I need more lines around his mouth. Let's get another set right here. Now, these are probably not very anatomically correct. I'm not an expert in anatomy, as you can probably tell, but hopefully they're not too far off. Probably should have found some pictures of some old angry dudes and referenced those, but no time. I'm actually hoping I can get this done before anybody comes home with my home alone. Just allows me a little bit of privacy to actually work on this stuff. The background sounds of my kids screaming, running around and breaking stuff. All right, so he's going to be wearing a fur jacket or something. I see him wearing these in a bunch of pictures. So let's go. I know his hands are going to be there, so I'm not going to draw too much. Here's his neck. Let me see. He's got his neck like so. We have his shirt. One of these shirts over here that opens up. Now this is maybe I'll just turn off the symmetry for a bit, so I can get the. Let's see. So you have the holes in the shirt here. Give him a button or so. All right. I just don't like having it 100% symmetrical. Like I said, if this was actually a print or something, I don't usually use the feature. If I did use it, I'd use it very sparingly, just maybe to help with the proportions of the face. And, even that would only be if it was a straight-on shot, which I typically don't really draw outside of these drawings. I'll usually go 3/4 or profile. But, yeah, for straight-on, why not? It's a good tool. And sometimes I get these comments from people that, think it's cheating, or it doesn't count as an art, it doesn't count as drawing if I use the symmetry tool. And I kind of find those amusing, because how is this cheating? I'm not a test here. I'm just doing a drawing. I'm just doing some art. And if you really hate it, you hate the idea of symmetry, what you can do is you just cover half the face like that. Just cover that half face, half the face up. And yeah, symmetry removed. Enjoy. But for me, it's a tool. And if you're an art historian, you'll know that, you know, even the greats, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, any of these guys, they would use whatever was available to them. So for a dude like me who's just drawing for fun, I don't feel too bad if I use something like this to help out. And like I said, it's more about, you know, the coolness of it. Give him some chest hair here. All right, let me just turn it back on. Okay, so I think I've got enough of his face at the first pass. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new layer, and this is the layer I'm going to do the hands on. All right, so let's go up here. So what I have to do is draw his knuckles first. Sometimes I like to look at my own fist, actually. When I do this, just imagine my fist with a whole bunch of extra hair on it. All right, let's see. Once again, I'm not, you know, can't say drawing hands is my strong suit, but yeah, something I should probably practice more at. But hopefully, they'll still look like human hands. All right, so I think that's the basic shape. I think that's good. Knuckles. So, and if you do hands, you know, I'm not an expert, but you know, your knuckles are all different sizes, and you don't have. You've got this kind of roundness. You got to remember, and someone like Wolverine, if you're drawing, probably has a lot of veins. So I try to get some of those in his hands. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too crazy here. Get some hair there. I'm not gonna draw hair everywhere because I take forever, but usually just a little bit kind of gives the, you know, kind of creates the illusion. Okay. Let me just turn the symmetry off for a second. I want to make sure one of these hands looks like it's in front of the other. Yeah, probably not the greatest job. That's okay. So what I'm going to do now is just go back to the layer before and just erase. Let me get the eraser a bit bigger. Get the eraser tool, enlarging it. Okay. All right, so let me actually, and also I'm just going to turn off the under layer because I don't need that anymore. All right. Okay, let's go back. Pick my pencil again. Get my symmetry back on here. All right. Now the claws. All right, this is going to be interesting. So his claws. This is where MANGA Studio would have been good because I would have had an actual nice curve tool. So there's a curve tool in here. I'm going to use this. Okay. So we've got this tool here that I never use, but let me see. I think this might give me what I need. Yeah, that looks all right. Okay, and so let me pick my pencil. Whoa, okay, that's not what I wanted. Try to do a bit later. There we go. Okay. This might not look quite right, but I will adjust it a bit in a second. Okay, so let's just close this. And now, just erase the parts through here. And let's make this a bit smaller. Now, every picture I see of this, oh, okay, let me go to the line, erase some of the stuff behind here too. Now, so every picture I've seen of Old Man Logan here, he has blood on his claws. And I'm not sure if it's blood. Looks like it's his blood actually, but maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if that's the case. So let me just try to, I'm not digging the way this is turning out, but I'll keep going. These little details that end up making these videos take longer. Damn claws. Alright, let's just some more blood here. Okay. Alright. Alright, I gotta turn off the symmetry because I can't have all this blood being absolutely symmetrical. Change it a bit here. Okay, let's do some touch-ups over here. All right, this will do. It's not the greatest, not the greatest, but it is a speed sketch, so I don't want to spend too long on this. All right, let's get some shape here so it doesn't just look like a bunch of lumps of meat here. So you've got your knuckles. Yeah, in retrospect, I should have taken a picture of my hands or something so we get this better. All right. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go back down to this level here because I'm gonna do a bit of work on my shirt here. This jacket. No, I don't need to go crazy here. I just want to show that there's a shape behind there. I'm not going to bother putting too much crazy detail in it. I'm not going to put any detail in it. All right. Okay. Yeah, so once again, this will probably be the first video I post if I post it. And I really don't know how much talking I should do. Let me know if my voice annoys you. I can just put music on here. I'm hoping that for those of you who are artists, I know a lot of artists follow me on Instagram, but maybe some of the stuff I'm saying is remotely useful. Alright, so let's go here. Let's put some more lines here in his facial hair. And let's put a bit more contouring around his neck here. He may be old, but he's still built. Still a powerhouse. He's Wolverine after all. Okay. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Alright, let's do a bit more. Now, one of the problems I always have is I never know when to quit. That's probably one of the good things about doing these speed sketches is that I try to do them pretty quickly, so it kind of forces me to just stop. I know a lot of times I'll just keep going, and then sometimes too much detail can be a bad thing. Sometimes the stuff you leave out is more important than the stuff you draw in. I think a great example of that is Jim Lee. If you look at his work, he'll he'll put half a line, he'll leave stuff that's not connected, the spaces everywhere, and it just looks amazing. He's those gaps actually convey just as much information as the actual parts that are drawn, and that's definitely something I have not mastered, and I don't know if I ever will master, but maybe one day. But definitely, if somehow you don't know who Jim Lee is, which is probably nobody, but if you don't know who he is, go check him out. He's got a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos. They're not his own videos, just other people recording him drawing that are on internet. Actually, I don't know if you just saw that I just did a wipe, and that's because drawing on the Cintiq feels so much like drawing on paper that sometimes I find myself just doing things I would do if I was drawing on paper. In that case, I was trying to brush away a line mark I didn't want. Thought it was like a little piece of an eraser. It's not. Pretty interesting little thing there, but it's just there's nothing else like drawing on this. I've got actually a lot of devices. I've got Surface 1 and 3. I've got iPads. I've got other tablets, and I kept trying to avoid buying a Cintiq because I thought, oh, there's so much money, and why would I spend all that money on something that's just for drawing when I can buy this other device? But when I finally gave in and I bought this one's not even that new. This one's actually, I got it off eBay, so it wasn't even that much. It's not like one of the newer ones where you're spending $3 or $4 grand on it. But in any case, yeah, once I got this, from the first line, the first time I just took a pencil and just drew a line on the screen, and I was like, holy crap, this is just so much better than any of those other devices. So, I don't want you to go out there and spend money on something you can't afford or don't really need. But if you're serious about it, maybe don't buy it till you try it, but definitely get your hands on one and try it. And if you like it as much as I do, I think you'll consider dropping some coin. Just it doesn't need to be new. This one here is like 7 years old. It's not new. At the office I work at, we have one of the brand new ones there, and that's about maybe $3,500, $3 grand. And I gotta tell you, it doesn't feel any better than this. It's got the multi-touch, which is useful for the apps that use it, which a lot of them don't. But other than that, it really isn't any better. So save yourself a few $1,000s and just pick up a used one off eBay for $500 or $800 or whatever they cost. And I don't think you'll regret it. This is it's probably one of the best things I ever bought. And I bought a lot of things. All right, I think that is almost done. I might do a bit more work on these hands because I really hate them. But I think for the sake of this sketch, I don't want to spend 15 minutes of it trying to tweak these hands. Yeah, these hands are awful. I hate them. All right, I will spend a little bit of time tweaking these hands. I gotta make them wider. But anyways, I think that's probably, there we go. Well, that's a bit better. All right, yeah, I'll give it a bit more. Turn the symmetry off. Okay, I like to do one more layer. Let me just turn the symmetry back on. Shoot, wrong button. And sometimes I like to do a line. Actually, let me do just a little bit more work here. Yeah, that's drawing this short, stubbly hair. Another thing I'm not especially good at. Try to make this hair pop a bit more. So get a bit of contrast there, so I'm going to go a little darker around the edges of it. It's blending in too much with his neck. Yeah, okay, let's go a bit darker here. A little more cross-hatching. I'm a big fan. I love cross-hatching. It's a great way to get depth into drawing, and it's a lot more forgiving than just trying to shade. All right, let's put a bit more here. A bit of darkness there. to actually hide the symmetry line because it's a little distracting. So you can actually, for SketchBook Pro here, you can actually have symmetry on and hide it. And it makes it tricky to use because you don't actually see where the lines will meet up, but for the sake of a video like this, it's probably easier to follow what's going on if it's not there. So it's pretty distracting sometimes. Alright, I think I need to make this shadow a bit bigger under his nose. Let's just give him a bit there. And let's do some more lines on his face, because why the hell not? Let's go. Alright. How's that? Are we there yet? Yeah. So here I am doing what I was just talking about, not knowing when to quit. Alright, I'm going to quit soon because I have a feeling I'm going to start making this thing worse, not better. Law of diminishing returns, you know. Every 10 minutes I spend afterwards is going to give me less and less improvements. So eventually it'll actually start making it worse. I'm not sure when I'm going to get there. But, yeah, I think it's okay. Other than these hands. See, now I get a little wonky because I just created a new layer and started drawing the stuff on it. So now I have 3 layers. And my top layer is a mismatch of stuff from 2 layers. So that's the danger of working with layers. Sometimes you end up making things into a mess. Just put a bit more contouring on this hand. Try to see if I can salvage it a bit. Okay, and then let's get one more shadow over here. So try to give it a bit of depth. Definitely a scribbler for stuff like this. Which, yeah, works for me. I'm wrong with scribbly. Alright, let's get... Now, I don't actually even know if these claws are adamantium or not. I think they still are. From pictures I've seen online, so I don't make them too jagged. Otherwise, they would not be comic accurate. Alright. Let's just give them a bit more. Let's try to not completely go around them. Okay. Now, this will make these eyes pop a tiny bit more. So what I'm going to do is just darken another shadow around here. And just put a little more. Actually, give it a bit more wrinkles here. Because I do not know when to quit. Alright. Yeah, I think I overdid that. Alright. Let's try now. And more shadow around the mouth. Okay. Not sure if that turned out right. Let me just get a very fine eraser here on the eye. And because I'm on the wrong layer, it's not working. Let's give him a line. Just gonna put a couple lines through his eye here. Break up some of that black. It's always nice to use your actual eraser as a pencil. Go back and you can kind of go back and just kind of draw lines on top of areas that are dark. Alright. Okay. Let's see, let's just do this. I'm going to create a new layer now, one last layer. Turn symmetry off. I don't want symmetry. I'm going to just shadow up one side of the face. One side, just a little bit more than the other, just so it's not crazy symmetrical. Try to put a dominant light source on the one side of the head. So I'm going to just come in here. Just an extra layer of scribbles, leaving space. I don't want to go solid because then you lose all the detail. A little more lines on his hair, not too much because I don't want to lose the hair. And let's put some more on his jacket here. This furry Roots jacket. I don't know. Not sure what brand this is. I don't even know if this is post-apocalyptic or what the heck it is, but it's got a nice jacket. Let's put a couple extra shadows here on his neck. Okay. And let's put a few extra on this one hand here. Hopefully not wrecking it. Okay, and all right, I think I'm gonna call that a wrap. Okay, awesome. All right. So I'm gonna just stand up. Now, because I've been drawing this on a weird angle, this is actually going to be the first time I actually have to look at what it looks like. And I can already see there's some stuff I kind of don't like, so I'm going to just go back. Turn on my symmetry again one last time. Is it on? And I'm going to just try to build up some of these shadows a bit more. I want that eye to look like a raccoon. Okay. All right, let's go here. I'm trying to see. No, I'm trying to figure out where I drew those lines because I can't tell. There we go. All right. Yeah, now these layers are coming back to bite me because I'm trying to figure out where the lines are. Okay, I think I'll call that a wrap. So, all right. So let me just stop there. And what I'll do now is kind of show you the setup here so you can see. So there it is. And up there is the ledge. Hey, a couple statues up there. I got these things all over my place here. But yeah, and that's where my Cintiq is on an angle. There's my Tim Hortons coffee in the corner. But yeah, all right, guys. I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these, and I'll be happy to make them. And if you've got any feedback for me, please just go ahead and leave me some comments. I'll read them all. And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.